Hello and welcome to Notebook. Do you know where did the idea of nationalism first manifest? In the 20th century, the wave of nationalism was witnessed in Asia and Africa during the colonial struggle. In this session, we shall be discussing the meaning of the ideal of nationalism, its origins, functions, and the idea of nation which it serves. Nationalism has been an ideal which is seen in almost every nation since past many centuries, owing to independence struggle and growth of knowledge. Nationalism is a modern movement. Throughout history, people have been attached to their native soil, to the traditions of their parents, and to established territorial authorities. But it was not until the end of the 18th century that nationalism began to be a generally recognized sentiment molding public and private life and one of the great, if not the greatest, single determining factors of modern history. Formation of larger nation-states through unification of smaller kingdoms like present-day Germany or Italy in the 19th century can be regarded as the manifestation of nationalism. Nationalism has also caused collapse of several large empires like the USSR and the Austro-Hungarian in the 19th century and the British, French, Dutch empires in the 20th century. Local dialects and local loyalties were consolidated into state loyalties. Since 1960s, nation-states have come under serious challenge from nationalist groups and organizations, threatening to divide existing states. For example, the Quebecois in Canada or the Tamils in Sri Lanka, etc. Nation is an imagined collective group together having common beliefs, aspirations, and imaginations of its members. The constituents of nation share certain common features like descent, ethnicity, language, and so on. Nations are based on certain assumptions which people make about the collective whole. These include shared beliefs, history, territory, shared political ideas, and common political identity. It is also a fact that such characteristics do vary globally as well as domestically. Like, India is regarded as a land of diversity due to presence of different types of languages, cultures, religions, etc. Countries like Canada do not have a common language. They use both English and French. Let us now understand the assumptions. Say in a class, a group of 5 students have been given a task to be performed. So, in order to complete the task, all 5 students have to work together as a collective group with same aspirations. Likewise, a nation exists as long as its members believe that they belong together. A nation is not an object that we can see or feel. Nation is a collective identity and vision for a group which seeks to have independent political existence. Thus, for a nation to have nationalism, it is necessary to have belongingness together with common views, ideas, and beliefs. Nations' history is their collective memories, legends, records, achievements, culture, etc. Traditions, motives, struggles, customs, religion, and dialects of community belong to its history. Students, do you know the rationale which contributes to building of nationalism or a state? Nationalism provides a civilization, continuity, and unity in their representation globally. Nation characterizes homeland as motherland, fatherland, or holy land. For example, the Jews still consider Palestine as their original homeland, the Promised Land. Living together over a particular territory develops a sense of collective identity which is of great significance. Aspiration for a homeland has been of constant source of conflict as well. Members of a nation share a vision of state, set of values and principles like democracy and liberalism. Democracy involves a shared commitment to a set of political values that are desirable for a nation-state. Citizens live together as a political identity of a nation. Shared vision and collective aspiration to have independent political existence distinguishes groups from a nation. Notion of single nation shared as a common ideal for Arab people is indicating the concept of shared political ideals. Many people seek shared cultural identity. Common language, religion makes it easier, but it is a threat to democracy. Equal treatment and liberty for all in nation leads to sharing of common political identity. All major religions internally survived and evolved through a dialogue leading to a number of sects. Students, we have discussed the ideas which create a nation. Now, we will learn about why they create or determine a nation. Nations seek self-determination to govern and determine their future development, and in this way, make claim for acceptance and recognition internationally as a distinct political identity. However, right to national self-determination also has been asserted during the colonial struggle in Asia and Africa. Here also, it proved impossible for some cultural groups claiming to be distinct nations to gain political independence, resulting in migration, wars, and violence. Let us see an example of Basque, which is in your textbook as well. Basque is a prosperous region in Spain. It is recognized as an autonomous region within the Spanish Federation. Leaders of Basque nationalist movement were not satisfied with this autonomy and demanded a separate country as they have geography, culture, and language not identical to Spanish mainland. Supporters of the movement used constitutional and, till recently, violent means to press for this demand. Almost every nation today faces a dilemma of dealing with movements for self-determination and ensuring different cultural identities live and coexist. Now we look into nationalism and pluralism. In today's time, it has become important to understand how, within a country, different cultures and communities can coexist, like as practiced in India. Constitution has ensured protection of cultural, linguistic, and religious minorities. In India, we have members of the Anglo-Indian community who are nominated to the Parliament to provide equal treatment and protection of laws for the members of the groups. However, demand for separate statehood in the age of globalization seems to be somewhat paradoxical. Right to national self-determination always included right to independent statehood, but granting statehood to all communities seems to be undesirable and without any political and economic viability. Poet, writer, and humanitarian Rabindranath Tagore was the first Indian to be awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature, and he played a key role in the renaissance of modern India. Tagore is most widely known for his poetry, but he was also an accomplished author of novels, short stories, plays, and articles. He was critical of narrow views of nationalism. His view was we Indians are rooted in their own culture and heritage. We should not resist learning freely from abroad. He had strong views for independence and against the British rule. He made a distinction between opposing Western imperialism and rejecting Western civilization. He was afraid that rejection of West in favor of Indian tradition was self-limiting. This brings us to the end of this session. See you in our other videos.